Have you ever noticed how much of your energy gets wasted when you try to defend yourself, explain yourself, or complain about why something isn't working out? What if I told you that every time you do that, you're actually pushing your desires further away instead of bringing them closer? Neville Goddard had a very simple but powerful principle that can change the way you see life. Never complain and never explain. Think about it. Complaining is nothing but focusing on what you don't want. When you complain about your job, your relationships, or your finances, you are putting all your attention on the lack, on the problem, on the thing you wish wasn't there. And according to Neville, what you focus on expands. So when you live in a state of complaint, you're unconsciously affirming that you are powerless and that the world is against you. You're literally feeding the very reality you want to escape. Now, let's look at the second part, never explain. Why did Neville emphasize this? Because the moment you start justifying yourself to others, you're indirectly admitting that their opinion has more power over you than your own belief. You're saying, I need you to understand me in order for me to feel okay. But Neville taught that your imagination is God, it is the creative force of your reality. So if you need someone else's approval to feel secure, you're placing their imagination above your own. When Neville said, never complain and never explain, he was not telling us to become cold, arrogant, or careless. He was teaching us self-mastery. The person who does not complain is not ignoring reality. They are choosing to live in a higher state of consciousness where they know they are the operant power. And the person who does not explain is not avoiding responsibility. They are simply refusing to hand over their authority to someone else's perception. Imagine for a moment you are walking through life with complete inner confidence. Something goes wrong at work, you don't complain, because you know that what matters most is how you imagine the outcome. Someone questions your choices, you don't explain, because you know that your inner conviction will speak louder than any justification. That's what Neville meant by living from the end. When you see yourself already at the place you desire to be, there is nothing left to complain about, and nothing left to explain. Complaining is rooted in the past and the present problem. Explaining is rooted in trying to fix someone else's perception. But creation, as Neville said, happens only in imagination, which is timeless. So every time you hold back the urge to complain, you are choosing to shift your attention from the outer world back to your inner world. Every time you hold back from explaining, you are reminding yourself that you are the only authority over your destiny. It's easy to think that complaining will release pressure or that explaining will make others respect us more. But in reality, it drains our energy. When you complain, you're telling your subconscious mind, I believe in the problem more than the solution. When you explain, you're telling your subconscious mind, other people's view of me is more important than my own self-concept. Both keep you trapped in a state of dependency. Neville's advice liberates you from that cycle. And here's the beautiful part. The moment you stop complaining and explaining, you start creating. You free up energy to imagine what you want with clarity and conviction. You start holding yourself in the state of the wish fulfilled. And the world, being nothing but a mirror of your inner state, begins to rearrange itself to reflect that. This is not just philosophy, it's practical. Try it for a week. The next time something happens that you don't like, instead of complaining, pause and go into imagination. Construct a scene where the issue is already resolved, and feel the relief of it. And the next time you feel tempted to explain yourself, stop and remind yourself that your inner conviction is enough. You will notice how much calmer, stronger, and freer you feel. Neville often reminded his students that you are the operant power, not the secondary cause. That means you don't have to complain because you're not a victim of circumstance. You don't have to explain because your reality doesn't depend on convincing others. It depends only on what you dare to assume. So the next time you catch yourself about to say, but you don't understand, or, I can't believe this is happening to me, stop and remember Neville's words. Never complain and never explain. Because in that silence, in that inner discipline, you're declaring to the universe, I am the creator of my reality. Neville believed that everything in your life is a reflection of your state of consciousness. Every person you meet, every relationship you have, every situation you experience, it's all a mirror of your assumptions about yourself and the world. So when you're desperately clinging to someone, worried about losing them, chasing after their attention, you're actually affirming to yourself, I don't have them. I'm not enough without them. And because consciousness creates reality, that assumption has no choice but to show up in your life. But here's the liberating truth. The moment you release that grip, the moment you stop trying to control them, and instead focus on yourself, on your imagination, your inner world, you shift into a new state. You step into the version of you who is already complete, already loved, already chosen. And that's when the reflection changes. Neville often shared the idea of living in the end. Ask yourself, if the relationship you wanted was already perfect, if the person you loved was already committed, would you be clinging? Would you be anxiously waiting for a text? No. You would be relaxed, secure, and confident. That's the state you must practice now, before anything changes. Because when you feel it first, the world has no choice but to reflect it. Think about planting a seed. If you constantly dig it up to see if it's growing, you destroy the process. But when you plant it, water it, and then let it be, the seed naturally blooms. Your imagination is the seed. Your faith is the water. Letting go is the sunlight. Together, they create the perfect conditions for growth. So how do you actually let go? First, it's important to know what letting go is not. It's not about giving up on your desire. It's not about saying, fine, I don't care anymore. That's not true letting go, that's resignation. Letting go in Neville's terms means releasing the fear, the desperation, and the obsession, while holding on to the assumption that your wish is already fulfilled. For example, if you want someone to love you, clinging to them in fear only creates more distance. But if you let go of the fear and begin to affirm within yourself, I am love, I am chosen, I am secure, then you're no longer chasing love, you're embodying it. And because consciousness is the only reality, love must reflect back to you, whether through that specific person or through someone even better. Neville also spoke of inner conversations. Pay attention to what you say in your mind when you think about that person. Do you imagine arguments? Do you replay moments of rejection? Those inner conversations are shaping your reality. If you want a different outcome, you must change the script within. Begin to imagine conversations where they express love, where they affirm your worth, where the story ends the way you want it to. And then, let go. Don't force it. Don't demand it. Simply trust that your imagination has planted the seed. One of Neville's most powerful teachings was revision. Let's say you're holding on to painful memories with someone, times they disappointed you, or moments when they left you feeling unwanted. Instead of replaying those hurts, Neville taught that you can revise them. In your imagination, relive the scene, but this time change it. See them apologizing. Hear them saying the words you wish they had said. Feel the love you wanted to feel in that moment. And then accept that new version as the truth. The past, in Neville's teachings, is not fixed, it can be rewritten, and the new story becomes your reality. Now here's where people struggle. They say, but Neville, how can I let go when I love them so much? How can I stop thinking about them? And the answer is, you don't have to stop loving them. You don't have to stop desiring them. You only have to stop fearing their absence. Because the fear is what pushes them away. Love attracts, fear repels. When you let go of fear, love flows naturally. So the next time you catch yourself obsessively checking your phone or overthinking whether they'll come back, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself, I am the operant power. My imagination creates my reality. Then gently shift your focus. Imagine yourself already happy, already secure, already loved. Feel it real, as Neville would say. And then release it. Go about your day in peace, knowing that the seed has been planted. Neville's own life is full of stories that show the power of letting go and trusting imagination. He told the story of his own discharge from the army. He longed to return to his family, but there seemed to be no way out. Instead of clinging to despair, he imagined himself back home, honorably discharged, and living in freedom. He let go of the how, and trusted the end. Within weeks, against all odds, he was released. His story is proof that when you let go and live in the end, reality bends in your favor. This applies to relationships too. You don't have to know how things will work out. You don't have to control the timing. Your only job is to enter the state of being the version of you who already has what you want, and then trust that life will arrange the details. That's the essence of letting go. And here's a practical exercise. Tonight, before you fall asleep, imagine a simple scene that would imply your wish has already come true. Maybe it's your person holding your hand, or hearing them say, "I love you." Maybe it's friends congratulating you on a happy relationship. Whatever scene feels natural, imagine it vividly, with feeling, until it feels real. And then drift into sleep in that state. That is Neville's state akin to sleep. And it's one of the most powerful times to impress the subconscious.